Hi there, this is Kirk from NCSP. In the previous session, we had a look at how we can use the print command. What we're going to have a look at in this session is the command input and how we can actually use that so that the user can put in some data into the computer. So in a similar way as we've approached this in previous sessions, we could just try the command put in and then press the return key, and unsurprisingly we get an error message come back. We get the word mistake on the screen. And what we actually do, we take those words put in and we actually reverse them round. So our command becomes input. And this time when we press return, the computer is quite happy with that command. Now, along with using the command input, what we have to do is tell the computer where we would actually like to store the information that we are typing in. And this is called the variable. And a variable is simply a storage box for information that can change at any time. So after the command input, we have to use a label. So for example, if I would like to ask the user to type in the name of their pet, I might put in input and then the variable pet. Now when I press return, you can see that the prompt actually changes. We've now got a question mark. So I'm going to put in the name of my pet cat here, Molly. And the computer has accepted that data. Now we've looked at using the command print and enclosing a piece of text within speech marks like that, but we can also use the command print to print out the contents of the variable. So if I now put print pet, because pet was the name that I gave to that variable, when I press return, we should expect to get the word Molly printed back on the screen. However, we don't. And that's because we haven't told the computer to treat the input as text. And we have to use a special symbol for that. So we type in input. I'm going to use the same variable pet. But this time what I'm going to do is put a $sign after the name of that variable. And in computing, we call that string. So my command now is input pet string. So when I press return, I should get my question mark back as a prompt, which we do. Now I'm going to type in the name Molly, press return. And that's behaved in exactly the same way as it did previously. However, now, if I type print pet string, there we go. We've actually printed back the contents of that variable. Now, obviously, what we don't do is put speech marks around the name of our variable. Otherwise, what will happen? The computer will just print out the text that is enclosed within those speech marks. So whenever you want to print the contents of a variable, you don't use speech marks. So let's clear our screen. And what we'll do, we'll write a very simple program where the user inputs a piece of text, and then the computer will print out a short message using the contents of that variable. So I'm going to start with line 10, and line 10 I'm going to have as clearing the screen. You can leave that out if you want to. Now, obviously, I've got to tell the user what I want them to actually type in. So I'm going to use a print command, and we'll have please tell me your name. And I've just realized I didn't put a line number with that. So line 20, print, please tell me your name. And to check that's gone in okay, I'm just going to clear the screen again and use my command list. So that's looking okay so far. So my next line, line 30, this is where I'm going to use my input command. Now, the name of your variable can be pretty much anything. It might be just a letter, or it could be a short word. It's good practice to actually use a name for your variable that somehow links into what is going to be stored in that box. So I'm going to use the variable name, and I need to tell the computer to treat what is typed in as text. So I'm going to put my string command at the end there. Now I could, just for line 40, I could just print out name string, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a technique called concatenation, and that is where we're actually going to join the contents of name string with another piece of text. And that's very simple to do. So line 40, I'm going to print hello, and I'm going to leave a space, then put my speech mark. And because I want the contents of the variable printed right next to what's enclosed within the speech marks, I'm now going to use a semicolon, as we have done before. And now outside of those speech marks, I'm going to put the variable where we have stored the person's name. So let's clear my screen again, list that up. So let's try and make a prediction about how this program should behave. Line 10, it should clear the screen. Then we should see on the computer a message saying, please tell me your name. Line 30, the user types in their name, and that is going to be stored in the variable called namestring. And then after the user has typed in their name and pressed the return key, then we should get the message back saying hello, and then whatever name has been typed in. So we'll run that program now. And here we are. Please tell me your name. So I'm just going to put in the name Bob. And the computer responds with hello, Bob. And children actually find that really quite amusing. Now, there's quite an important lesson here that children don't often get first time round. Let's run the program again, because at the moment it's looking as if the program has got, or the computer has got, some sort of intelligence, which obviously it hasn't. And I think this is a really good demonstration to actually show the children that you're teaching. So run again. And again, we've got the message, please tell me your name. But this time I'm going to put in, who are you? With a question mark. Now, when I've taught this session before and I've asked the children, how do you think the computer will respond? They often come up with, the computer's going to come out with some sort of message, some sort of intelligent response to that question. But of course it doesn't, because all that's happening is we are storing the words, who are you, in a variable called namestring. So when we press return, then we get hello, who are you? And you can demonstrate that even further by running the program again. And we can just type in absolute garbage. And of course, then when we press the return key again, then we get that garbage thrown back at us. And there's quite a nice little term in computing, garbage in, garbage out. If you type a load of rubbish in, then the computer will actually throw back an awful lot of rubbish to you. So I'm going to clear my screen again, list up my program, what I have so far, and I can actually extend that program a little bit. So now I'm going to put in line 50, and I'm going to have the message, how old are you? Putting in our question mark there. And we're going to need to use another input command. And this time we're not expecting the user to type in some text. We want them to type in a number, so we don't need to use the string symbol. So I can just use the variable age. And then in line 70, again, we can return what has been stored in the variable age by saying something like, wow, I am also space speech mark. And again, I want the numerical value that has been stored in age. I want that to be printed out right next to that final space just before the speech mark. So I'm going to put in my semicolon again. And now I'm going to put in the name of the variable that we have used. Now we'll run our program. And as we expect, please tell me your name. So I'm going to put in Bob again. And the computer is returning hello, Bob. We've now got the message, how old are you? Let's put in the age 12. And the computer says, wow, I am also 12. So that's quite a nice little program that children can play about with. And of course, they can change the contents of the print command. It might be, please tell me your favorite pop group, and the computer could respond with, wow, I also like, and then whatever has been stored in that variable. Of course, what you have got to make sure of is, if you have a look at what we have for line 30, we've got input name string. And on line 40, we've used the same variable name. You must keep the variables the same, otherwise the computer won't understand what it is that you're trying to do. If you make up a variable that does not exist, for example, I can just put in now print x string, no such variable, because x string has not been defined.